Yeah.
So you're saying you went to a massage and the masseuse popped you off and it was the best feeling in the world?
Yeah.
There's a podcast called Between Two Slabs. They consume mass media. It seems so sad. It's the great Curator and Merlin. They can't grow pubes, so they gotta wear a merkin. They got no money, so I guess they gotta share. Just two nerds wishing they could grow body hair. Comics, cards, and toys, nothing that would interest you. It's the podcast that nobody listens to.
All right, welcome back. I'm in a good mood tonight.
Woo!
Don't worry, guys. Merlin's got a hell of a story for you. As you can see, he's got a smile on his face.
Always has to bring it up, man.
He's feeling good right now because he just, he had some neck pain. He's got this.
I went from my worst to the best.
Yeah, Merlin's had this chronic neck issue for months now.
Years, man.
But apparently,
4 years running.
Just tell them briefly, okay? Remember, keep this PG because we got sponsors. But briefly, give them like a 30-second summary of what you just told me.
Oh, well, for y'all didn't know, I went to the ER on Friday. I was in serious pain. I thought my head was going to explode. Like the pressure was insane. It really hurt. It felt like I was I wanted to die. I just wanted to put a screwdriver in my head to release the pressure. It was that crazy. I spent all day Friday from 11 a.m. to 1:30 a.m. in the ER hospital at UCLA Westwood. They gave me what was that? They gave me an IV painkiller thing, but still all weekend my head was on fire. I was ice packing all weekend. Told the doctors I need a real doctor. Can't find a real doctor. So I went Monday. It was yesterday, Monday, to my favorite Thai massage place, and I have a regular woman, and believe me. I have a regular woman. Me and Maria both have the same woman. Her name is Jen.
Oh boy. Okay.
Believe me, she looks like an Ewok. Okay. Nothing to write home about. That's not. Yeah. If you want a happy ending, you need a hell of an imagination. Okay. Because
apparently
this is all business, man. No pleasure. And she knows my body more than anyone.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Okay, how much soju have you drank already? Okay, Emily's out of the room. No, and she worked my neck and a loud pop where the burning has been happening right here. I mean, it hurt, and all the oxygen, all the blood, all the nerve circulation, just like it felt like the intersection of 405 and the 101 in Los Angeles. You know how bad that traffic is in 9 a.m. in the morning? It's bad. That's what my neck and my head felt like. And all of a sudden it just cleared out and I went from 0 to 100 miles an hour. Whew. It was like a release. She released me.
So as a recap, if you're just joining us, Merlin, he has a regular masseuse, a little Thai Ewok
woman,
type
about in her 60s,
and she popped him off and gave him the best release of his life, and that's why he's got a smile.
It's not the place that Robert Kraft goes to in Miami, Florida. Okay.
I hope you gave her a tip. Did you tip her? Did you give her a tip?
I always give her a good tip. Yes. $60 tip, man.
Oh wow, $60.
Yeah, she's
How
worth
much is
it,
a massage?
man. I get a 2-hour massage.
How much is that?
Well, I'd already been to 5 visits because I go almost every week, once a week. So it's usually like $125 for 2 hours.
Okay, and then a $60 tip. Okay, wow.
Yes.
Generous. She earned it, guys. Okay?
Well, that's what it says on the. Yeah, she
earned it.
Okay? Earned it. Yes.
It's not.
Trust me.
It's not easy to release Merlin. Okay, to give Merlin the great release. So she earned it for sure.
Well, let me tell you, the funniest thing was I told one of my closest friends one time. He always hears us talking about Thai massages, and I told him to get a Thai. He never had a Thai massage, so he decided he was going to take him and his boyfriend for his boyfriend's birthday somewhere in like Mount Washington, Highland Park area. And for his first time, there was a Thai massage over there, and he got put he got separated because usually sometimes when Maria and I go, we get in the same room. We have two different masseuses. He got separated from his boyfriend, and he actually got the Thai happy ending.
Oh boy,
and he didn't want.
All right,
like,
and with
no,
that,
no.
Segue.
And she started crying.
Let's segue into we're about to lose our sponsorship, guys.
I'm sorry. And I was like, dude, what's the address of that place?
To the segue here. We got an exciting show for you guys tonight.
Very exciting.
Some really interesting topics. I've been letting these ideas percolate all week long to get what to say tonight. A lot to say. Okay. I'm in a great mood too. I got my new soju bottle. I got the grape flavor. Okay. One of my favorite brands, Chum Charum. Chum Charum. I love saying that brand. But we got that going. So tonight what we're going to do is we're going to do a little recap of the Dallas Card Show, guys. Okay.
For us who weren't there.
Right. And I know what you're thinking. Wait, you guys didn't go to the Dallas Card Show.
Exactly.
But we have some interesting stories to share about that. So we're going to do that. Talk about that briefly. We're going to talk about the business of the hobby. Okay. How do you turn the hobby into a business? I got some interesting ideas to share with you guys about that. Then we're going to be talking about collecting original artwork and where that fits in the hobby right now. And then we'll get to your comments. As always, we will get to your comments towards the end of the show. But if you have any pressing comments that you just need us to highlight right away, send us a super chat sticker. We will get that in right away, guys.
Super chat sticker. Make that donation.
Yeah, we appreciate that. That keeps the lights on. That keeps the lights on, guys.
That's right.
So help us out with that.
The actors are still on strike, so I can use it, folks. Let's give us a donation. Get us that happy sticker. What's it called? A happy sticker?
Super chat
sticker. Yes.
Yeah, super chat sticker. So we'll get to that. But before that, we got to take care of some business. We are contractually obligated to talk about our sponsor, our lone sponsor of this podcast, Mr. Minty. Cheers to Mr.
Minty Supplies.
Minty.
All right, everyone. Mr. Minty was in Dallas this weekend, texting me all weekend long, telling me about the show and sending me photos of things he knew I was looking for. But Mr. Minty Supplies, check it out. Dan was just showing the bag, the kit that comes with all your products you need to prep that card, to clean that card, to get it ready, to up that grade. If you feel like you can improve that grade 1 or 2 notches, because it's happened for Dan and I, it can happen to you. Look at these things. That's one thing you definitely need is a centering ruler. Look at the pins. It's got everything, swabs. It's got the polish, everything to make it more shinier. I literally had a Topps black refractor card from an 8 that went to a 10. That is true, folks. I couldn't believe it myself. It worked. Mr. Minty was even shocked himself. Mr. Minty Supplies, we've got the link down below, not only his Instagram, but the link to his website.
Go now.
I don't think he's changed it. It's either like 20 or 25% off. That's a good deal. This guy sells out at every show, these supplies, because he's up all night repacking these kits with his assistant. Go and check it out. It also has videos on his website, how to use these products. If you don't know how, check it out. It's very simple. He explains it very well. He's very articulate, shows you how to clean your card and prep it to get it graded. Anything else, Dan? Dan?
Yes. Are you getting some snappy feedback, or is that just me?
It's just you.
What kind of coming in and out?
No. You're looking fine, actually.
Everything's clear to you?
Yeah, you're looking fine.
Your end?
Yeah.
Hold on.
You just looked concerned. That was it.
Okay, because I thought my internet went out. Okay.
It could have.
Okay. Well, anyway, so yeah, check that out, guys. Mr. Minty, use the code Curator down below, 25% off.
Curator, I forgot to add that.
Deal.
Curator.
There's definitely some a lot of value there, and he gave that special for us. He doesn't do that discount for anybody else, just for us, because we're friends. We've been supporting him since day one. So if you guys like our stuff, or like our content, if you want to support us, please support our sponsors that are taking a chance and sponsoring this show. Okay, so with that, let's talk about the Dallas Card Show. Okay.
Well, let's talk about
We
it.
weren't at the Dallas Card Show. We skipped out on this one. I had some prior obligations, so I could not make it to this particular show. But a little bit of controversy happened at the show. Again, yes. So, and it has to do with the vendors and the table cost.
Okay. This I know.
So usually at the Dallas Card Show, we always renew our table at the end of the show. So this time I was not there, but I had I subleased my table out to a friend of mine. He went to go renew, and he called me and he said, "Hey, did you know that they're raising the prices on the tables at the Dallas Card Show?" And I was like,
starting
"What?
in 2024, no, I didn't know, correct?"
Yeah, I didn't know this, right? So I get on the phone with the person that renews, and they tell me the price, and I told them I would not share this information because it's like I'm not at liberty to share the actual pricing.
We are
with that.
Okay.
They asked me not to talk about that, but the point is they raised the price. Okay, they actually more than doubled our price. We have a good rate because we've been going there for 2.5 years. So we've got a nice rate based on 2.5 years ago. But of course,
it's a very reasonable price. Very reasonable,
right? But for us, they tried to really raise the price on us, and I was pretty upset, to be honest. Like I called you, Merlin, right after I got off the phone with them. And I said, "Can you believe this? They're raising the price. What do we do?" Right? It was more than double. What we're normally accustomed to paying. So, I talked to you, Merlin, about it. I basically said, "What are we going to do? Are we going to still go to
getting punished since we weren't there this time?"
It felt like it. It felt like we were. It felt like it was definitely a punch in the gut because the card shows have definitely slowed down a lot from over the last 1.5 to 2 years. Definitely slowed down a lot. It's not easy money anymore, guys, where you go to a card show and you're guaranteed to sell a lot of stuff. It's definitely very competitive, and it can be a struggle to be profitable at shows.
Yeah,
right?
And especially the second half of the year is always the worst than the beginning of the year.
Yeah, so it was tough to have to kind of say, "Oh crap, we're gonna have to go pay more money for our table." And Dallas is one of our favorite shows. It is our favorite show. It's the show that we go to
truly.
We've been 4 or 5 times this year. All last year went like 6 times. So it is our favorite show. We constantly say, tell everybody that Dallas is the best show in the country for various reasons, right? So it was definitely a punch in the gut to think that we're going to have to pay such a substantial increase. And I was struggling with it. I was like, I was just talking to you today, Merlin. I just called you literally. I just called Merlin today around like 2:00. And I was like, do we even go to Dallas anymore? Like, should we go to Dallas? Should we transition to do something else? I mean, this is tough, dude. So we were kind of struggling with that. And apparently we were not the only ones because they implemented this price increase across the board, right, to everybody that tried to renew. And it was causing a lot of controversy because people were upset, which is typical. There's 2 sides to this, right? So from the vendor perspective, it's typical for anytime you're used to paying a certain price and then that price increases, you're gonna get upset, right? We don't, even if we're getting really good value, we don't want to pay more money for anything. That's just how it is, right?
Right.
From the show promoter's perspective, if their show is doing really well and they have other people willing to pay more money for the same tables, it makes sense for them to want to raise the price and be more profitable, right? From a business perspective. I understand. I get it, right? Especially with the Dallas Card Show, it's grown so much that they have a waiting list of like 300 people that are waiting to get into that show and have tables in the main room. So I understand how they're saying, well, if this guy doesn't want to pay his old price, we'll just get somebody new in there. right? So I totally get that. From a business perspective, I get that.
Yeah.
Right. But it's still a hard pill
Gotta do
to
what you gotta do.
swallow to have to pay extra for anything. So, anyways, I was upset about that, and I think that, I don't know what you did, but I voiced my concerns and my feelings to Merlin, and then Merlin, I don't know what you did. I think Merlin sent the message to somehow you sent the message to Kyle. How did you do that?
I just, from one Southern man to another.
So Merlin gets in contact with Kyle. Kyle is the show promoter. He's the guy that owns the Dallas Card Show. He also runs a Dallas Card Shop, right? Super cool dude. Just like whatever you would imagine a man from Texas to be, that's him. He's got the accent.
Well, that kind of scares me. But he's not that guy, I don't think.
He's got the accent.
He's nicer.
He's got the Texas hospitality charm.
Yeah, he's a laid-back guy.
When he talks in anecdotes, so he tells you stories and examples.
That's true, yes.
So he's a super cool guy. And I did an interview with him.
They're all great.
Yeah, I did an interview with him on my channel, so you can actually see, if you want to learn about his story and how he started the Dallas Card Show, you can go check that video out. But anyways, so you reached out to him somehow, and then all of a sudden, before we even do the show, like about 45 minutes ago, he actually calls me. He calls me on the phone.
Crazy.
Yeah, and he tells me basically, I heard that you were upset about the price increase, and I want to let you know.
I didn't tell him that now.
Okay, somebody somehow it must have got around that.
Told him that as well. Someone, yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't just me. Okay, but basically he said that I want to let you know. I want you to hear it from me directly. I want to let you know that the price increase was a internal misunderstanding between him and his staff. Okay, meaning that there is a price increase. All right, for new vendors coming into the show, right, from the previous one, but not to current vendors, and that the price that I was quoted is not the correct price of what we're going to be paying. Okay,
so there's a grandfather clause or something
like that.
Still,
right?
Okay.
Yeah. So he said, I want you to know that. So that was a miscommunication between me and my staff. So I apologize for that, and I want you to know that
he's such a nice guy.
I want you to know that I know who you are. I know that you've been going to the show for like 2.5 years. I value you as a vendor, and I don't want you to get any kind of I don't want there to be any misunderstanding between us on how much I value the vendor, you and the other vendors at the show. And I was like, what's going on here? I was a little bit taken aback by this because I couldn't believe that he would take the time to call me and tell me this, right? And he says, don't worry about your table. All right, you have your rate. That is your spot for as long as you want it. That is your spot. That is your table for as long as you want it. I'm not going to kick you out. I'm not going to move you. I'm not going to raise your rates beyond whatever you're paying already or anything like that. Okay, I want you to hear that from me. All right, we are still figuring things out with the other vendors, but for you specifically, this is what I wanted to tell you. So he reached out to me and he told me that,
great.
and I was like, damn, that's really cool, dude. That's really cool that he would actually do that. So of course I thanked him. And of course, I knew better. I said, okay,
exactly.
So you said that. So we said, we get our rate, we get our table. Okay. Well, appreciate you calling. And then I quickly ended up the call because I didn't want him to change his mind. Right. So I confirmed what he told me. And then I wrapped up the phone call, but long story short, we got we're not going anywhere. We are going to be at Dallas next year. All next year, we're going to be in our spot. But here's the point I want to share about this. I can
sleep better tonight, Dan. Thank you.
Yeah, I just thought it was really cool that he would take the time to reach out to me, and and I'm not special enough where he's just doing to me. I know for a fact that he's reaching out to every vendor that he knows or he has the contact.
Totally see that.
And doing the same thing, right? It's not just us because we make content or anything like that. It's it's really, he's reaching out to everybody to
No.
smooth things over and to make sure that there's no misunderstanding. And I thought that was really cool because we've been to a lot of card shows over the years, right?
Yes.
And some card shows you can tell are very well run, very well organized.
Yes.
And they do well.
You feel like they've got your back.
Yes, like Dallas, for example. You know that the show is put together well, and the vendors are valued for what they are, for what they bring to the show. And then we've been to other shows where we've been to other shows where, as vendors, they treat you like shit. You know, oh, you know, we don't have your display cases, even though you rented it.
Oh, we don't have your table.
Oh, okay, we'll put you in the back there with the first timers, right? Or
that was horrible.
We'll put you in the back with the autograph guest or whatever, right? And you can tell a show where they just basically throw out the tables and collect the money, and they don't give a crap about whether it's a good show for the vendors or not. Or there's shows where they really, really try to make sure that the vendors have a good show so that they come back for the next one. And that is
we went to that one show. I'm not going to say who it is, but we didn't even have the tables at our booth. And I went to go ask where our tables were, and they were like, "Well, that's your problem, pretty much." They didn't come out to check and help us. They just left us like to the wolves.
Yeah, so
and
there
are
find
out that the booth beside us are the people who took the tables. Because
there are vendors that do that stuff. I mean, not vendors. There are promoters that will run a show that way, right? But the Dallas Card Show is not like that. We have always been given the best service, the best treatment at Dallas Card Show, which is why we keep going back over and over and over again. Okay, and we've talked about this before. We've talked about from our perspective what makes for a really good show. And that is having really good vendors at the show that bring good stuff that make people want to go to the show and participate, right? The vendors are what make the show. Hold on, I got to make a bid on eBay right now.
Yeah, and I don't want to be like a Karen to those guys either, because I want to be so appreciative of them because they're so appreciative of us and other people, and they just go out of their way for you when you ask for something. They go above and beyond, and I want to show my respect to them as well, and let them know I would also, bend over for them as well.
Yeah. I bet you would. I bet you would. Okay. But
like that. Oh my God.
So that's what I kind of wanted to kind of share. That I thought it was really nice that he actually called me and that he smoothed things over. Nice. And that is a mark of that is a perfect example of what it takes to be a good show promoter in the hobby. You gotta take care of your vendors. You gotta take care. And when people are upset or they have a grievance, you've got to address it directly and make it right. And short term, it might take a hit. Short term, it might not make sense profitability wise if you can make more money off of somebody else. But long term is the play, guys. In the hobby, everything is long term. We have a short term mindset, but if you really want to be successful in the hobby, you have to have a long term mindset. And if you're building a show where you want people to continue to attend 6 times a year, which is a lot. The Dallas Card Show happens more than any other card show in the country. 6 times a year, guys. That's a lot, right?
And we see the same vendors over and over again there from all over the country. And some people come from all over the world even now to the show.
Yes.
And they're like our close friends. Sometimes it's not even about like setting up. It's like hanging out with all these guys. Yeah. And it feels like summer camp of cards.
He told me he gets people from London, Australia, Asia, the Middle East, all over Europe. They all come to the Dallas Card Show. Canada, they all go to the Dallas Card Show because it has that great reputation, because he has a long-term mindset. He takes care of the vendors. He takes care of the people that come to the show, and everything else falls into place. The profit will always be there. If you build a good reputation, if you build a business and you build a good reputation with that business, and you take care of your customers and your clients, you're going to make money, way more money over time than you would if you didn't do that short term.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not our favorite thing to set up at the show. Our favorite thing to do now is doing our live stream of Between Two Slabs at trade night on Saturday night.
Right.
That's our favorite thing to look forward to every time we go there.
Yes, exactly. So I just wanted to kind of share my thoughts with that. I was pretty taken aback by the fact that he reached
That's
out to me.
great.
So if he ever watches this clip, thank you, Kyle, for doing
Maybe
that.
he does.
And I look forward to being at Dallas in January and continuing to be a vendor at that show and all that stuff. So, all right. So with that, let's transition. Anything else you want to add to that before we transition to the next?
That just warms my heart. That just tickles me, and I can't wait to see all those guys in January.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
Can't wait to be back.
So let's go back. Let's go to the next segment here of talking about how to make a business within the hobby, right? Is that the subject you have?
Yes. I mean, that's basically what happened to us, Dan.
Let's see. Okay.
You did freeze up. You did freeze up.
Collecting. You can hear me though, right?
Yes. And now you're going pixelated, but I can hear you still. Let
me just go in and out real quick, okay?
Okay.
I can do this real quick. Give me a second. Let me turn this over.
You need fiber internet like I have. I have what, 900 or 1200, whatever it is, bit, whatever. More than Spectrum. Spectrum's 300. They try to, make me switch over, and I'm like, well, do you have? Mine's like 1,000, 1,200, and 900. It's in that ball game. Not anywhere close to 300. So my internet's always good, and I'm on a landline too, since I have to send files all the time for editing. So we need to get the great Curator better internet speed, folks. If he's going to be on the internet all the freaking time, come on, folks. Tell Dan get a better internet provider and router, and also have those what do you call them? They push the power faster. I don't know what it is. Is maybe what those are called? I hook it up to the router, and then they go all over the room, and they pick up the speed even more, or the reception, because I need them for my TVs, so I can get 4K on my TVs, guys. How's everybody doing this week? Everybody having a good time? Check out my new video, everyone. I just posted a new video of type 1 and 2 photos. I just posted it today on my channel, YouTube, Merleworld Card. So check it out, folks. Dan froze up. He's working on it, everyone. Anyway, I just made a new video where I show my new PSA authenticated slabbed photos, and they're all type 1 and 2. And I just posted that today. The next video will be about type 3 and 4 photos. So check it out. Some really freaking cool photos I'm very proud of. I've got some even cooler photos that I got back from PSA. I mean, hell, I even you have to check it out. I have the Jordan photo that I thought it was a type 3 or 4, and it came back a type 1, and he's doing this awesome layup. It's freaking awesome. I don't even think I've made a video of it yet. I'm not sure. Check out the video anyway. So anyway, let's say hello to everybody. I'm just go ahead and go through some comments right now. Zup Chili, there he is, Dan the man. There. What's up, Chili? Okay, here we go.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Sorry about back. It's okay. It happens. Shit happens, man. So
let's get back into the next segment here about how to turn collecting into a business. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is what prompted this topic today. I get messages all the time from people asking me, hey, how do I turn the hobby? How do I make money in the hobby so that it pays for itself? Right. How do I turn this into the business? And I guess they watch our content and they see what we do, and they wonder, okay, can we do the same thing, or how much money are these guys making doing this and all that stuff, right? And I think
you're making millions, Dan.
I mean, look at the setup. Look at it.
Look where it's all going.
Yeah. I think what people kind of think when they think about turning the hobby into business is they think about buying and selling cards, flipping cards, essentially.
Right.
But there are so many ways to make money in the hobby that people don't realize, don't understand, and probably is oftentimes maybe a lower barrier of entry than buying and flipping cards. Because if you try to buy flip cards, you got to start out either really low and work your way up, or you got to come in with a ton of cash to get the inventory to be able to flip, right?
So you're telling the viewers pretty much to think outside the box.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll give you guys a couple of examples, but you know, an analogy I can use here is like with real estate. I do real estate, right? And people say, you know, with real estate, do you just flip houses? Do you buy and hold and rent? Do you, you know, buy commercial buildings, buy single family homes? You do, you know, are you become a real estate agent? Do you become a real estate broker? Do you do wholesaling, right? There's so many different ways in the real estate industry to make money that it's not just, you know, it reminds me of the hobby. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just buying and flipping a house. All right. There's many different ways you can make money in real estate. Same thing happens in the hobby. Okay. And I'll give you a couple examples. You could be like a flipper, like Rolf Cards. Rolf Cards is an example. The guy is a hustler. He goes to every card show.
Mm-hmm.
He flips cards. You could do that. You could open a card shop and be like the Card Father, Burbank Sports Card.
right.
And have a card shop, a brick and mortar card shop where you know, sell cards there. You could be a breaker like DAPS and have an online breaking business, right? You could be a content creator like Mojo and fly around to shows and get sponsored and do all this stuff or whatnot, things like that. You could be a person like Jeff Wilson and have technology businesses like the Market Movers app, you know, and content and make content.
Go big.
You could be like Dr. Collectible, where he has a media business and he gets paid sponsorships from the National and he's a brand ambassador. You could be like Kyle from the Dallas Card Show and make your own show, or Prism God for Culture Collision and make your own show, right? So there, or you could be like Mr. Minty, Steve. Mr. Minty's his real name is Steve. Okay, and Steve, and he started this product business selling products within the hobby. You could be like that. You could be like the guys from Slab Mag and invent a new product. Right? Mr. Minty didn't invent any of these things. He just packaged it together because there was a need for it. It's, you know, right. But Slab Mags, you know, where's the Slab Mags? You could be like the guys from Slab Mag and invent a completely new product that the hobby needs. You could come up with a service. You could be like those guys, the Dallas Card Investors, what's it called? Dallas Card Investors, right? Or MBA, Mike Baker.
Oh, DCI, okay.
Yeah, DCI and pre-grade cards for people. Or you could be a group submitter and collect a bunch of cards and submit them to PSA on people's behalf, you know?
There's so many on this list, Dan. It's crazy.
Yeah, so many different ways that you can make money in the hobby besides just buying, selling, flipping cards, right?
Yeah, it was just tip of the iceberg.
You can start an auction house. You can Golden Auctions. People don't know Ken Golden started that in 2012. It was not
like basically 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was not like it's been around forever. But
I thought it had been.
There's a lot of other small auction houses that have popped up.
What was he doing prior? Because I see like photos of him from like 20 years ago.
Well, he's been in the business for a long time.
Yeah.
He's been in the hobby for a long time, but he just started that auction house, you know, like 10 years or something.
Did not know it was that young.
So there's a lot of different ways that you can make money within the hobby. It just kind of depends on what your interest is, right? And for us, I'll use us as an example. So for us, we do a lot of different things. We buy, sell, and trade, obviously. We do that online, and we go to card shows, and we do it in person. But also, we have this podcast. We make content. So we get sponsorships from people like Mr. Minty. In the past, we've had Golden Auction sponsor us. Slab Mag sponsored us. Veriswap sponsored us. Veriswap is another example. Some dude, Raymond Lee, created an app to help facilitate trades. You know?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So he created an app for that. So that's another sponsor of us. Stand Up Displays was a previous sponsor of us. Remember that guy? His name is Dan, and he created these beautiful stands that you can get. you can get this Curator. Okay, use code Curator on stand-up displays. You can get one of these custom stands or any other type of stand on his site. Okay, stand-up displays. You know, but that's another example of a product. So anyway, so we get sponsorships, and then I don't know about you, Merlin, but I am working on some other opportunities right now that I'm not at liberty to talk about right now, but I am working on different investments within the hobby. You know,
yes, you are. I know what you share with me many times.
Yeah, so I've got one really big one in place right now. It's not quite there yet. We are in contract negotiations. It's still probably like 6 months out from me being able to actually make an announcement on it if the deal goes through. But if that happens, that will be a pretty huge project for me to get involved in. And if it does well, it'll make pretty good money and it'll be really fun to be a part of. But basically, it involves me investing or creating a business within the hobby, right? So that's another fun thing. For this show could expand beyond just regular sponsors like that we have in the past. We could do something else. We've talked about taking this show on the road, you know,
yes,
and being more kind of like a traveling podcast, you know, and being sponsored for that. So there's a lot of things like that. But I want you to know that the hobby has evolved into basically its own microeconomy. And if you're creative,
that is true.
If you're creative and you have an open mind, you can find ways to make money in various places within the hobby. But it all comes back to the example that we were talking about with Kyle from the Dallas Card Show before, okay? Of having a good reputation in whatever business or service that you get into that's within the hobby. You have to make sure that you take care of the people long term, right? You got to make sure that your reputation is intact and good, and people like you and they want to support you, because that's what it really comes down to. Because there will be, if you do really well, there's going to be people that copy you, okay? Or if your product or service is very niche, maybe not many people will feel like it's necessary to have, right? So you need to make sure that your reputation is really good and people like you because they will want to support you, all right? In the hobby, we have endless options for everything. Options on who to break with, who to grade with, where to sell our cards, what shows to go to, what cleaning products we want to buy, you know, all this stuff, what slab protectors we want to buy. We have endless options for everything. So nobody really has a monopoly on anything within the hobby. And what keeps us going to a certain product or service is the brand loyalty that we build from that, right? So the people, so if you're starting a business, you got to make sure that you take care of your customers, that you treat people well, that you build up a good brand, a good reputation, and then people will want to do business with you in the hobby, okay? And there's endless ways you can make money. There's a lot of ways that people haven't even thought of yet, you know? I've had a lot of ideas that I can pursue in different ways that people haven't even thought about yet, but eventually it's going to happen, right? Because there's a lot of opportunity in the hobby. So that's what I want to share. Your thoughts on that, Merlin?
Oh, no, I totally agree. I mean, when you first got me started going to out-of-town shows 2 years ago, that I did not hardly know anybody except for the local, yokels here in LA. And it was a wild world. I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to fit in? There's so many people. The first one was the Dallas show. Now we're at a point where I know pretty much everyone, and everyone knows us. I walked the floor of the National this past year, just walking in the morning, just with a cup of coffee, seeing what's around before the show starts. People are approaching us, want us to collaborate with them, want to sponsor us. I'm like, whoa, what has happened in these last 2 years? It's crazy. And I think, the biggest thing is it's not only all this thing, the list you had about getting involved into this hobby as a business, but it's also about getting networking and collaborating with all these people as well in order to have these opportunities.
Right.
Right.
That is a really important point that maybe not a lot of people realize is that to get opportunities, the opportunities go to the people that like you. You know,
Yes.
this is not necessarily equal opportunity across the board. You know, if you step into the hobby, you're not going to get the best opportunities. You have to build a reputation. You got to shake hands. You got to become friends with people, establish working relationships where if there's an opportunity, like there might be a guy that works at Tops, for example, some guy in the marketing department, and he has a relationship with a content creator. And if there's an opportunity to work with a content creator, he's going to reach out to that person first because they have that established relationship, right? And that goes across, that could happen in any aspect of the hobby. And I don't think a lot of people realize that, right? For the most part, I think most people act really cool in the hobby, but I have met some really stupid people that have just like embarrassed themselves with the way that they've acted because they have that short-term thinking. Like if a deal doesn't go well, right, or doesn't turn out the way that you want it to turn out, I've had people, I've seen people that have like thrown fits like children over this, or they might do something shady in a deal, right, without thinking of the long-term implications of that. And that stuff just hurts you in the hobby, you know, right? You never want to think short-term profits in the hobby. You always want to think long-term if you guys are trying to run this as a business. You know what I mean? And just remember that, and this applies in any field outside of the hobby too, really in life, but just remember that relationships and networking is the most important thing if you want to expand any type of business, okay? Nobody's really entitled to anything in the hobby. It doesn't matter how long you've been here or who you know or how much money you spend or what cards you have. You know, nobody's really entitled to anything. It's really about networking and building those important relationships that open those doors for you within the hobby. And I've seen this firsthand because over the last 2 years, 3 years, we have busted our butt to go across the country to meet people, to go out of our way to build relationships, and those relationships have become very fruitful. You know, they've turned into sponsorships opportunities. They turned into, you know, situations if we need like a table spot at a show, or if we need something, you know, people help us out. And just like this example with Kyle at the Dallas Card Show, you know, he knows us. He knows that we've been there supporting him. So he reaches out and makes sure that he knows that, or that we know that we're taken care of, you know, and that we're not necessarily going to be bounced out of our spot, things like that, right? That comes from building that relationship. So very important, guys. If you want to be, so to summarize, right, if you really want to turn the hobby into a business, first, you have to find something that you're passionate about, whether that's flipping cards, whether that's opening up a card shop, starting a card show, creating a new product, being a content creator, whatever. Find a vertical that you feel passionate about, and then start building those relationships. And if you build really good relationships, you will find out that people will want to support you. And just watch us, okay?
So true.
Watch us
So true.
example, okay? We've got some big things going on. There could be a major announcement within the coming weeks. I'm working on it. I'm negotiating with certain people, but watch how we conduct ourselves in the hobby, right? You know, compare us to other people that try to do the same things as us, but maybe don't have good relationships, okay? And you will see that there's a difference between the opportunities that we get versus the opportunities that they get, right? Anything you want to add to that?
No, so true. I mean, that's another thing I love about Dallas. Like on trade night, you know, they have trade nights like every night. Dan's always at trade night doing his hustling. My favorite thing, Dan will tell you, I just love hanging out with people and shooting the shit. You know, I'll have a drink, I'll go have dinner with people, and, you know, we'll catch up. And then I learn a lot of things. I hear, you know, the rumors, I hear what's going on in their field, or what's hot, what's not. Like, I'm catching all kinds of things. You know, it's great to hear all these things, and it's great that people want to share with you and want you to join with them and being part of the festivities. Yes. And sometimes I'll stay up till 3 or 4 in the morning just having laughs with the promoters and with Kyle and Leo and all those guys. And and all these people, and people bring me things. People bring me boxes of cards, and they just want me to open it up and film me excited about open cards. I'm like, I don't feel like I deserve it, but they feel like I do. So it makes me happy. It brings me joy. It brings Dan joy. It brings everybody joy. And that's what's the important thing. And I just like making friends, but these people are also part of the business too.
Remember, guys, the hobby is not only about cards. Okay. The hobby is not really about cards. Cards are the common interest that we all have with each other. We love to collect cards. That is the common interest, right? That is what allows us to be in this space together. But it's more about meeting new people, networking, and building those relationships within the hobby. What's interesting about this, and I don't think people realize, is that the hobby, right? Like if you're a lawyer and you hang around and you go to like lawyer meetups and functions and networking events, you're networking with other lawyers. Or if you're a doctor, you do the same thing, or a CPA, or if you're a professional, it's within those groups, right? But it's very focused to the same type of people, your peers, your colleagues. Within the hobby, you have people from all different areas. You could have, you could have like a mechanic. You could have a doctor, a CEO of an expensive company, a successful entrepreneur, a pop star singer, Eric Estrada, pop star singer, right?
A TikTok star.
TikTok stars. So you have access
DJs.
to a wide range of people that you have access to, that you can build relationships with, personal relationships. You can learn from them, and you can do business with them inside the hobby and outside of the hobby. I've met loan agents that I have got quotes for loans for. I've met bankers. I've met real estate agents. I've met other attorneys. I've met all sorts of people that I can call up if I need referrals or pick their brains about things. And it's been really beneficial, and that's what's really interesting about the hobby, is that it brings people from all walks of life, all different industries, everywhere into one space. And if you can realize that, guys, you can really take advantage of it. Okay. Really get access, high level access to people that you normally wouldn't get access to, and you can work it to your benefit somehow.
Yeah, and treat everyone like they're all VIPs, believe me, because that gas station attendant is just as important as that billionaire tech CEO that walks in, because in this world, we're all together and we all know each other, believe me. And they can help you just as much.
You could have a really well-off CEO of a company, right?
Yeah.
Who normally would not pay attention to you outside of in everyday life. But if you guys have a common interest, like you collect vintage cards, vintage baseball cards, that is that's a common interest that will bring you together and give you that access, right? So you got to realize that, and if you can do that, you can leverage those relationships, okay? But most importantly, guys, you got to remember, long-term thinking within the hobby is that you have to maintain these relationships. Don't burn any bridges. Don't get salty with people because a deal didn't go the way it is. Okay, don't ruin your reputation, basically. Okay,
be good to all the kids, because they don't have parents that are there.
In my the last 3 years or so that I've been doing this basically like full time, within this hobby space, I can count maybe like 3 or 4 situations where I've had bad interactions with people, right? And I just think to myself, I look back at those interactions and I just think to myself, it's too bad. It's too bad that these guys chose to lose their cool over whatever we were talking about at the time, because it's a lost opportunity. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like guys, I've met guys in the hobby where I like them a lot, and I become friends with them, and I go out of my way to help them somehow, right? Either through advice or through deals or whatever it is. I go out of my way to do that. Because they built a relationship with me, and I've had other people do the same thing with me. But you can't do that if you have short-term thinking and you you pick fights with people or you rub people the wrong way. You never want to put yourself in that situation.
Yeah, the only thing sometimes I get worried about is that when people are competitive in the same like topic or a product, and they get jealous that you're hanging out or helping one other person in their competitive business.
Yeah, it used to be like
Which
that.
gets
I
a little
remember
weird at times.
Yeah, I remember it used to be like that in like a year ago, 2 years ago. But I feel like a lot of these businesses have realized that the hobby is plentiful. There's a lot of money to be made in the hobby. So it doesn't have to be like a monopoly for any single business or anything like that. And I feel like I think I know what relationships you're talking about. And I feel like those guys have kind of chilled out for a little
I
bit.
think so too.
You know?
But I always hate that happen because I like both people,
Right.
when it's always happened.
So. But anyways, okay, so I think we can move on from this and we can go to our next segment here. And if you guys want to know details, you can follow up with comments and we can try to give you guys, if you guys have any questions about like any specific type of business within the hobby, we can try our best to answer that. Just put it in the comments, okay?
Yes, please leave some comments. We would love it.
Here's the next topic is over the weekend, I posed a question on my Instagram. I posed a poll.
Okay.
And I said, what do you think is worth more? A 1 of 1 or a highest grade of a certain card, right?
Okay.
Or the original type photo or original artwork of the card or a comic book. Okay.
So that's all over the place and kind of broad, Dan.
You understand what I just
I do.
So I did that and I got like 100, 200 people that responded to the
that's a lot. Wow.
To the poll, right?
Okay.
And surprisingly, I think
what was the final consensus?
I think 69%. Let me just tell you real quick.
Okay.
I don't want to make up numbers. I'll tell you the exact thing here. Give me a second. Let me pull this up. Bum bum bum.
Bum bum bum. What do we got here? What do we have, Dan?
Oh, actually, it disappeared. It went off my story. But I think it was like 69% said
69.
Yeah, 69% said that the 1 of 1 or the highest grade of a card is worth more than the original source material, the type photo or the original artwork. So 69%
Interesting
for the cards, 31% for the original source material. Okay. And it got me thinking. In the hobby, right? What do collectors value the most within the hobby? What characteristics of a card do collectors value the most?
The rarity.
The rarity, correct. We want to have the rarest version of that card to the extent, and the rarest version is like a 1 of 1, basically, right?
Right.
Or the highest grade. But to the extent that we want the rarest version of any type of card, we have gone as far as to create artificial layers of rarity for cards. That's what grading is, right? Before, you could have had a raw Mickey Mantle, 52 Mickey Mantle Topps card, but other people might have that. So what do? If you want to be better than them, you get your card graded, okay?
Yeah, would that be the second thing then? Would that be like after the rarity, the graded?
That's the next layer of rarity because that's what grading is. Grading is artificial rarity created, okay? So you do that and you have grading systems, grades 1 through 10. Whoever has 10 has the rarest version of that card, the best.
So that makes that one particular card even more unique now.
Better than an ungraded version.
Right.
And what happens when there's multiple high grades of that card, multiple 10s? What do? What did we do? We created subgrades. Subgrades for the cards, guys. So now my card, not only does it have a 10, but it also has a 9.5, 9.5, 9.5, 9.5 over your 9, right? That little subgrade, which is the difference is so minuscule that you wouldn't be able to tell the difference unless they told you. That's what subgrades are, all right? But what happens when the subgrades are not enough? What do? You create an additional 10 grade. That's what BGS 10s are, gold label 10s.
Oh, the pristine.
pristine 10. All right, to add another layer. And then what do you do after that? You create the black label, okay, which
That
is the
means all
ultimate rarity.
10s, the perfect card.
The perfect card. But what happens after you don't have a perfect card anymore? Like if they don't give out that grade, or there's another person that has that, what do you have? You have auction houses that create what do they call it? Eye appeal, top 30%, top 15%, top 5% eye appeal. PWCC does that, right? So that's another layer of artificial rarity that's created to basically separate us from the crowd. What do you have after that? Okay, besides that, you've got other companies like MBA, Mike Baker Authentication Services. That puts a diamond sticker on the slab. They grade the card in the slab, and they have platinum, gold, and the coveted black diamond sticker to show.
That's another service you could have.
Right.
So there's hobby career.
There's all these layers, artificial layers that we have created within the hobby to say that my card is better than your card, okay? Because it is the rarest version, the best eye appeal, the best quality, whatever, right?
We should create a company that grades the actual slab and then slab to slab of the card.
Well, I'm sure it's in the works at some point, right? I'm sure it's in the works. But this is how the hobby works, because we want the rarest of the rare. And what I've seen over the past 2 years or so is that when you get to the top, when the top gets saturated with rarity, where do we go? Where do we go from there, right? Then the manufacturers, the card manufacturers, add the rarity in there. They add the numbered parallels.
The serial numbers.
The serial numbers, right? And then what do they do when the serial numbers are not enough? They add other things that we as collectors will make up in our head to add an extra layer of rarity or premium value to it.
Like a case hit?
No, like color match. Color match is one of my favorite.
Oh, that's right. Color match.
One of my favorite bullshit things that people care about. Oh, the jersey, Luka in a blue Dallas
blue prism
is color matched to the blue prism. Therefore, that card is worth more than a silver prism or whatever.
That makes it more special.
Or a lower number. You get a premium.
Right. Like I had a Jason Tatum green prism rookie.
Green, whatever, right? Then you have another one of my favorites, the jersey number match, right?
Oh yeah. Like you had a Tom Brady number 12.
Yeah.
Number
12 out of 12 jersey match premium. That's the best version of that, right? And then you have the autographs, and then people grade the autographs, right?
Right.
And again, it's just all about rarity, right? My autograph is a 10 over your 9 or whatever it is, right? My autograph has better eye appeal, blah, 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 blah. And then they get down to the one-of-ones, right? And then when they do the one-of-ones, it's not enough for them to have just one one-of-one. They have to have multiple one-of-ones across the board, right? And when you do this, what you do is you water down that level of rarity. Yeah, you water down that level of rarity for that, okay? So what I've noticed is that over the past year or so, people have been transitioning out of chasing these rare cards to going into memorabilia, right? Game used items like game used baseball bats, game used jerseys. And then same thing with that. It's not enough that it's game used. It has to be game used, photo matched, right? Add an extra layer of rarity because you have this extra layer of pedigree to it. Okay. So anyways, my point in the hobby is we are obsessed with rarity. We want to have the best, rarest collection that nobody else in the world can claim they have. So it's natural that we would transition from collecting cards or comic books or toys or whatever is like a mass-produced item. We would transition from collecting that to the source material of that item. And right now, what we're seeing in the hobby is type photos are having a moment. Type 1 photos are having their moment in the hobby right now, because people are looking at these things. They're saying, wait a second. So this photo is the source material for this card, and this card is worth a lot of money, right?
Okay.
There's one, I believe there is a type 1 photo on Golden Auctions right now in their elite auction, which is the Joe Namath, the source material for the Joe Namath rookie card, I believe, is up there right now. Okay.
Oh, so the photo that's on Joe Namath's rookie card, the top
Joe
card.
Namath, he's like this.
Yes, I know it very well.
Photo, I think that's on there right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. If I'm wrong, whatever. But I think I saw that on there.
So that's an iconic card. This is an iconic photo, pretty much.
Yes. The type 1 photo of the George Mikan Bowman card recently sold.
Oh, the one we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Yes, sold at auction for like 50 grand, or I think it sold for more than that. Okay,
I can imagine.
Their PSA published in their magazine the type 1 photo of the 52 Mickey Mantle.
Right, and I posted that on my IG.
Yes, that has popped up. Right,
they said there's only 3 that they've known to authenticate.
Right. At the National, I showed you the Walt Disney 1931 Walt Disney type 1 photo out there.
Yeah, so, and how much do you think that would fetch these days? In your guesstimation?
100 grand. Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, I think so. And here's the other thing. Like, so it's this, and what people don't realize is it's the source material of that card. So like the Walt Disney, for example, right? A PSA 9 of that 1931 Walt Disney card.
Yeah.
I have one. Where's my Walt Disney card? I don't have it within my
Is that the highest grade now, or is there actually a 10?
I got it right.
Okay.
So this is the 1931 Walt Disney. This is a PSA 8 high grade. PSA 9, there's only 3 of them in existence. There are no 10s. Okay.
No 10s.
So PSA 9 is the highest grade. Recently sold at Golden Auctions for like 40 grand for the PSA 9.
Alive.
Okay?
Yeah, I really think that photo would fetch way more.
What is more rare? The card, the highest grade version of the card, or the original source material, the type photo, right? Think about that. I would say it's a photo. The photo, if the hobby, if collectors want the rarest version of something, right? Then you want the original source material. You want that photo, okay?
Mm-hmm. It's like when you bought the Vader's Revenge at Star Wars Celebration last year, and that art was used in the Galaxy Chrome Series 1.
Right. They can always remake the card, guys. That's what you have to realize. Even if it's a 1 of 1, they can always remake a variation of it in the future, right? Mm-hmm. But the original source material, if it's a type 1 photo, they can, there could be a couple of copies out there, but it's very rare. It's very rare. Okay. Let me use another analogy, comic books, right? You could have the cover, like, let's just say Amazing Spider-Man, Amazing Fantasy 15. That's Spider-Man's first appearance. A high grade of that, I don't know. There might be a CGC 9.8 of that somewhere. I don't know. But let's just say there's a high grade of that somewhere. That's probably like a $700 to $1 million comic book, I think. Okay. The high grade of that. But what happens if you had the original cover art to that?
Oh man.
How much would that go for? Right? In the comic book space, the original cover art is always higher value than the highest grade of that comic book because it is the source material, right? Original source material.
Have you actually seen some, like at Comic-Con or anything?
Seen what?
Like the original cover art
for Spider-Man,
of like famous covers of comics.
Modern comics I have, like from the 60s, 70s, 80s.
Of the golden.
You have that?
No, is that?
But the golden age stuff is like so rare. I've never seen it. I've never seen it in auction, but I will guarantee, like, for example, let me see if I have something here. I can't.
Yeah, that would be crazy, man.
Like X-Men #1, 1963 X-Men. I think it's 1963 X-Men #1. If that cover ever went to auction, oh my God, it's probably like 10 times whatever a 9.8 would cost. Right?
Oh my goodness.
But that's because it's rare. It's
and I'm curious, what's the size of it? Is it like big or is it
11 by 17 inches?
Is that the standard size
for a comic book?
Yeah, for comic book art.
Yeah, I'll show you. So this is I have been collecting original artwork lately. Okay, let me show you one of my favorites here. Okay. Here's this Superman. Check that out. Okay.
Oh wow.
That's a Superman cover from 1988. That's about 11 by 17 right there.
Yeah, it's got all the proof things on the edge for the publishing.
Yeah. So, anyways,
pretty cool.
So within the hobby, within sports, right, there is the Type 1 photos. That is the original source material. But I don't think people realize this. That 1952 Mickey Mantle, 1953 Topps Mickey Mantle card, and previous ones like a 1933 Babe Ruth, Gaudy, things like that. Even the Honus Wagner cards, those are all artwork. You know that that's not
photography is artwork.
No, it's not a photograph of those people. Those are that's artwork.
Oh, the artwork. Sorry.
There is actually original artwork of these cards out there. I think when we were at the National, we were at the booth. I think it was Robert Edwards auction or Hunt auction, but they had an uncut sheet, I think, or not an uncut sheet, but they had like a framed piece of 1953 Topps cards or 1940s. It was a 1940 baseball set of original artwork of the actual cards out there. Okay. Of a bunch of no-name players that I can't remember, none of the big stars, but they had the original artwork. So imagine, okay, so Type 1 photo, which was the source material used to create the 52 Mantle card, the actual photograph of Mickey Mantle,
right,
or the actual painting that they used to create that card. Okay, if that even exists out there, I don't know.
So what happened? They used a photo, and then they had an artist render a drawing or a painting of that photo for the card.
Yes.
So you got two pieces of art, actually.
So you have three things. Okay. You have three things. You have the Type 1 photo.
Right.
Let's just say that there are three in existence.
That came first, right now, right?
Authenticated by PSA.
Correct.
You have the PSA 10 version. There's only three of them.
There is a PSA 10? Wow.
Yes. Or you have the original artwork that was used from the picture to create the card. There's only one of those.
Wow.
What is worth more, right? What is worth more? And I know this is subjective. This is like a debate because whether you're a card collector or you're an art collector or you're a photo collector, right? People value things differently. But from an outside perspective, understanding how the hobby works, don't you think that the thing that's worth the most is the painting because there's only one of those, right? It is the rarest item out of the three.
I guess you're right. I didn't think about it. Yeah.
So I think that's what people are slowly realizing, right? The majority do not realize that still. The majority think you should have the 101 version or the highest grade version of that card because cards as a form of collectible is worth more money than photos or artwork, for example. But I can tell you right now, I see it. I feel like I'm 2 years ahead of the hobby right now when I'm looking at this. People want the rarest item. And they look for characteristics in the item that will make it more rare, that they can highlight, that will make it stand out. This bat was game used by Babe Ruth, but not only was it game used, it is photo matched to this game. Not only is it photo matched to this game because there might be other bats he used, but he hit a home run with this back, right? They look for things that they can tell a story about, and that they can add on to that story to make that item more rare than anybody else, because that is what we want in the hobby. Ultimately, we want the bragging rights to say we have the rarest version of this collectible out there. And I'm seeing that with the Type 1 photos right now. And even though the hobby, according to the poll that I took, thinks that cards should be the more expensive item of the out of these collectibles,
Yeah,
I'm here to tell you that the original source material is always going to be the more valuable item long term, guys. Trust me on this. Okay. So, and here's an example. Okay. If you've been watching my Instagram, you've been seeing me talk about my latest acquisition. So this is like not a surprise to anybody. But if you haven't been following me on Instagram,
I just saw that earlier.
Here is the Yoda P3 promo that I've been talking about. I'm not going to go into the whole backstory about this, but 1993 Yoda P3 promo. Sometimes it's called 1994, but this is when it came out. 93 P3 promo. PSA.
And that was from the very first Star Wars Galaxy set that now the Chrome is. Oh, this is Galaxy 2?
Galaxy Series 2. Okay.
Okay.
So let's use this for an example. This card here, in the PSA population report, there's only 49 graded copies total. 49 graded copies.
Oh, really? Just 49 is the pop count.
31 nines. 31 PSA 9s.
31 nines. That's pretty low, isn't it?
110.
What?
One PSA 10 out there, according to the population report. Okay. So imagine if you take that PSA 10. Okay. And imagine if they redid this in the next Galaxy series and they made this a superfractor. Okay. So you have the PSA 10, you have the superfractor of this, or you have the original.
Woo! Oh my gosh. Sorry.
The original artwork.
Oh
okay?
My goodness.
Look at this, guys.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Holy moly.
What is worth more? Hopefully I don't drop this. What would be worth more?
No, be careful, Dan.
What would be worth more? Okay. The highest grade of this, if they ever made a 1-on-1 superfractor of this, or the original source material, the original artwork, guys. Okay?
That's crazy.
It's hard to make an argument that the original source material would not be the most coveted item of that collectible out there.
That's crazy,
okay?
dude.
And that's what I'm trying to tell people. I want people to realize that. And it's not like this is like new or anything, because people have been collecting in the comic book space. People have been collecting original comic book art for years, for decades, right? Mm-hmm. But here's what I learned when I went to Comic-Con this year, and I went to all the dealers that had just boxes and stacks of original comic book art. They're all like old timers. They're all old guys that bought up these things, right? And they control the market. There's a small group of people that control the market, and they're all old timers. And
oh boy.
What I think is like people were so focused on the form of collectible, either the comic book or cards or whatever, that they ignored these original source material. And the people that saw that opportunity, they bought them all up, and they control that market now, right? Mm-hmm. And these things are worth a lot of money, guys. I'm telling you. Like if you look at the heritage auctions, when the comic book art auctions close every month, they go for tens of thousands of dollars for these things. You wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe it. So it's only a matter of time when as the market continues to get saturated with high grade cards or watered down 1-of-1s or multiple releases of certain cards, people are going to want to find the next level of rarity to chase. That's what it is, guys. If it's easy to buy something, we don't care about it, right? Like if you want to get a card of this Walt Disney card in any grade, you could go on eBay and buy it right now. You could buy it right now for whatever it's listed on there. but you won't. You'll watch it on your eBay list because it's too easy, right? If you can buy it right now, it's too easy. So you just watch it, and you might not care about it unless you get a good opportunity or you feel like there's a sale or something, right?
Okay.
If there's something like a toy or something, you could go to Target and buy it, but you might not do it until it goes on sale because it's too easy. But if something really rare pops up at auction, you're going to fight for it. You're going to go, if you have the money, you're going to pay whatever you can pay if you can afford it and try to win that item because you know it doesn't come up as much. It's more rare, right? So us as collectors, we are going to slowly realize this, where we're going to realize that all these other things that we're collecting, they're fun and whatever, but to get to that next level of collecting, to be in my case, I'm an art collector now. Okay, to be an art collector, you need to get to that next level and go after the true one of ones of whatever it is that you're trying to chase.
Now, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to like shove that in your suitcase and bring it to Dallas with you in January, or what?
No. So, well, like I said, I feel like it's weird.
Because now that you're getting into art, how are you gonna like get in the hobby of the business of that part of it? Just
that
by
I have,
like posting it or what?
Okay, so that I have not figured out yet because the thing about art, it's harder to sell unless you send it to consignment, which I don't want to do because I don't trust these consignment companies.
No, I would not put that on consignment, Dan.
Okay.
No.
It's hard to move, it's hard to store, it's hard to display. So I have not figured that part out, which is why one thing it seems like I might be shitting on cards or something like that, but I'm not, guys. In my opinion, cards are the most efficient collectible out there because of the size, the ease of storage, the ease of travel, and the ease of selling these things. So
these are turnover, yes.
Believe me, I do comics, I do toys, I do art now. Cards are the most efficient collectible to have for sure. But that next level, I'm telling you, the next level of collecting is art. Okay. And I don't know, like,
like the next Nashville, I can see us. We're gonna have to be like in the center area, the corporate area, with our artwork all over, like walls and stuff.
Well, here's the thing: there, like, we often don't pay attention, but there's a lot of artists within the hobby. Remember,
there's a few of them. Yes.
Man, I can't remember his name. I think it was James something, but remember we went to that artist booth at the National.
That was right on the corner from us.
Yeah, and he had amazing pieces of artwork.
Oh, it was very elaborate.
And he said they were going for between 25
oil paintings.
No, he said his original paintings were going for between $100,000 to $200,000.
Yeah, they were expensive. Right? And they already had like half of them sold that were on display.
So that's one guy. There's a guy called Shatter Comics. He makes these mosaic pieces of art, which are amazing. He had a Jordan rookie card that he made at the National. There's guys like that. So there's a lot of original artwork within the hobby, but we just don't value it yet. Okay. And here's what I learned though. All right. About collecting art. You could buy, there's so much art out there that you could buy a bunch of shit. You could buy a whole bunch of different things, but not all art is equally valued. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, my battery went out. Okay.
But
you can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you, Dan. Loud and clear.
Where is my thing here? Give me a second.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a quick switch. Don't worry, I get this.
Make the switch, buddy.
Okay, just give me a second. I have a backup here because I was prepared for this.
Yeah. Dan needs a new camera or something. Oh, I've never seen that icon before. Wow, that was crazy.
Got it. Okay.
That was fast. Good job. Good
job.
So,
not all artwork is equal. And this is what I've learned because when I first got into collecting artwork, I was buying a bunch of different things that I thought were cool, but I quickly learned that just because I think it's cool does not necessarily mean it's valuable. It has to have some type of published history to it. All right. It has to be published. So it has to be either on a comic or a card or a magazine or something where it has a published history to it. So going back to like that Vader's Revenge that I bought at at WonderCon or Star Wars Celebration, that was part of the Galaxy series, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you right now, I might have a deal for that painting pretty soon. So I'm in the works. And if I sell that painting for what I think I'm going to sell it for, it's going to be a huge win, huge profit on that. But here's another thing, like this Yoda, right? Published artwork. It's not just like an original painting that the artist made. It's published.
Who's the artist? Can you tell us?
I don't exactly know how to pronounce his name. I think it's called Rayume. I think his name is John Rayume.
Have you met him?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I was like jealous.
Yeah.
Okay, and so is he famous for that?
No, he's not.
He's really?
Right, he's famous for doing like horror art and things like that. And he just kind of did this out of the blue. But my point is, if you're going to buy original art, make sure that it's published. It has to be
true.
It has to be the original source material preferably tied to like a card or something like that within our hobby space. Mm-hmm. And that is the type of artwork that you need to go after.
And the same thing also people don't even know either, that with the photography too. A lot of times it's not just also about the subject that's on the photo. It's also the photographer. There's a lot of famous photographers, and I really scored something. I haven't even done content on it yet, but I got a photo off eBay. I didn't even know who it was from. The photographer wasn't even listed. The seller didn't know, and it ended up being a famous Rolling Stone photographer.
Right. Like people don't realize, like, the reason I like what I call it original source material. The reason I like original art or photographs or whatever source material is because it's easier. It's easier to track. It's easier to verify its credibility. Okay. True. A lot of people are looking at memorabilia right now. So they're evolving their collections from sports cards to memorabilia, game used items, photo matched items, right?
That's crazy.
But we learned from that whole card porn fiasco that we are relying on third-party authenticators to tell us why this game used item is so significant, because it's photo matched to this game or event, or this thing happened, whatever. And
so it could be like, oh, this is Michael Jordan's first game worn jersey with Chicago Bulls in 1984.
Right. And we're kind of learning that sometimes that's bullshit. Sometimes, most of the time it's real, whatever. Okay. These guys are experts in their field and they can actually verify these things. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times it's bullshit, So I feel like with original source material, artwork, photos, it's easier to trace because you know what it is. You know what it is. It can be traced back to the original artist, the original photographer, and there's no third party that tells you that this is what it is based on their research or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And you have to rely on that third party's credibility. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I just think, I still think that the hobby is about a year or 2 years away from really, really realizing this and chasing this. But when they do, they're going to go crazy, just like they're doing with the type photos right now. They're going to be paying crazy prices for these things, but there's still definitely opportunity to get in there to find original photographs, find original artwork, and build that collection. And these are the type of items that this is like long-term stuff that you hold.
Okay.
Right? This is not stuff that you turn around and flip right away. You need to hold these until the market catches up to it and builds up that demand where they want that item, right?
Okay.
So with this Yoda, for example, unless somebody gives me like a bag of money for it, I'm going to keep this in my collection until that Yoda PSA 10 surfaces. And I know it will someday. Somebody is sitting on that PSA 10 Yoda, Lost Yoda promo.
So are you saying you're after it?
No, I don't want. I already have. I have the.
You want to have both, though.
I don't need it.
Get greedy.
No, I don't need it because I want that PSA 10 to show up at auction and go for a crazy amount.
Oh, to create the hype.
Yes. I want that PSA 10 to show up and go for like 20 grand, right? And if that PSA 10 goes for 20 grand, what is the original artwork worth? I would argue
I gotcha.
I would say that it's worth 50 grand, if that's
so you pretty much got the diamond hands on your original art.
Yes. That's what I'm trying to do.
Understand.
Okay. So, anyways, okay. So that's anything else you want to add to that before we wrap this up? We're running a little bit late.
Oh no, it's a great learning experience here, man, for all of us. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. So let's get to some comments. Now I know we got a lot of comments for you guys here, so thank you for being patient.
And I think that's a reason, me being a music lover and a film editor, that's why I'm getting into the photography and Dan's getting into the art.
Yeah, that's the next level, guys.
Into it, damn you, Dan.
I still love cards. I still collect a lot of cards, but in terms of chasing rarity, this is a very exciting space to be in right now, for sure.
It is.
You know.
Zup Chili, hello. How about get some original art of Beavis and Butthead? Mark the Collector, happy Tuesday, party people. Y'all watch. Mark? Did you see Crown Jewels Saturday night? Dan, did you see it too?
Oh, I saw it. I liked it. I thought, man, Logan Paul, he's legit.
Great. I was not expecting the W on him.
Yeah, he is a legit wrestler now. I'm pretty impressed with him. Rhea Ripley, she's amazing.
That was crazy. That was some crazy shit, man.
As usual, so I enjoyed everything.
5-way.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. The Sports Card Professor 7. Good evening.
Yeah.
What's up, Oris? The Sports Card Professor 7 again. Oris, I guess Between Two Slabs is not going to the Toronto Expo, but Mr. Minty will be there at booth 508.
Yeah. So
one day again. But we got to go incognito.
Yeah.
Because they're waiting to tar and feather us. Pittsburgh. Good evening, gentlemen. What's up, Anthony? I know you look like usually what my camera looks like. Are you on a different camera?
I am. Yeah.
Okay.
This is my backup camera.
At least you got backup, man. Anthony's your icon photo is funny. What else we got next, Dan?
I'm going through these comments.
John Holt, this is kind of my kind of topic tonight, gentlemen. Can't wait to listen. Well, thank you much. I hope you got to enjoy what you hear. Horace again, sounds like Mr. Minty created a virtual lane for Merlin at the Dallas Card Show. Yeah, and he showed me a Type 1 photo of Snoop Dogg getting out of jail. And he told me the price, and I was like, dude, get it for me. I don't know. He never responded. I was like, dude, I'll pay you back. I don't know, like 500 or something like that. Not much at all. I told him I'd buy it from him. He can make profit. But I haven't heard back, or he's lying to me. Sports Card Professor 7. What about Between Two Slabs creating a virtual pop culture card show powered by Veriswap? It's a good idea. Well, maybe something like that in the future with somebody. Yes. 25 Perez. Hello, everyone. What's up, buddy? D10's Collections. Hi, guys. Still living off the hobby. I focus a lot on rare vintage, buying off eBay, overseas, not just cards, and for low. Also being patient and being long-term, not desperately auctioning. Yeah, that's a good way of doing it, man. I like your photo too, bro. Adrian, CV Sports Cards, the bro in house. Hello, gentlemen. What's up, Adrian?
Adrian recently got, I think he won a lot of 1940 Superman cards.
He did?
Yeah, he's getting into pop culture cards. I'm telling you, we have a good influence on him. He's starting to buy.
It's called the bug.
He's buying 1977 Star Wars cards and
NBA and non-sports cards now.
That's his lane he's getting into. So pretty cool.
Wofford, great combo. Thank you, buddy. Thank you so much. Leave some comments below, please. We need them. Wofford, any fun uncut sheet pickups recently, Dan? Yeah, Dan, are you still in the uncut sheet hobby?
I'm always in the uncut sheets, but they don't pop up that much, to be honest. Very
Are they pretty rare as well?
Yeah, the last one I got, I'll go show you here.
Okay.
Which is that.
Woo! Look, oh my gosh.
That is the 1992 Marvel Masterpiece uncut sheet. Beautiful set. But that's my uncut sheet.
Yeah, that looks beautiful, man. That's awesome. Can't wait to come see those next week, brother.
Oh, with that, so I guess we can make that announcement. Next week, we will be doing an in-person live Between Two Slabs at my new content studio, which I've kind of set up here. It's kind of a mess right now, okay? But it will be all nice and clean next week.
Get that ready for the Merle, man. I'll be there.
Yes.
Let me talk to you, Dan. Live in person, okay? Yeah. Aka collects. Let's get it, boys. Yeah, I was supposed to be there tonight, but unfortunately, 3 weeks ago, someone broke into my car right in my driveway and stole my catalytic converter. So it's been in the shop. Luckily, I'm covered. But man, if you own a hybrid, I know you do, but at least you're gated, right? You have a Prius, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, so they had to put a cover on it this time. Aka Collects was one of the bad interactions at the National this year. Older guy with a beard or something. Tell us about that.
No, that guy's a loser. That guy ran away from me.
Oh, is that the guy you pointed me to and he came up and
Yeah.
said something weird to me about you?
He's a real bitch. He ran away. He's trying to say something and run away from me. He's too chicken to actually stop and say it to my face.
And he was talking directly to me about you while you were standing there next to me.
I don't know.
He was screaming across the way. It was so weird.
Yeah.
Like, what's he saying? And Dan told me. I was like, okay, weirdo.
But no, that wasn't one of them. Those
that's goofball stuff.
Yeah.
We get that stuff all the time. That's nothing. Denny cards. Artificial scarcity is a real thing and a real shame. What is the artificial scarcity? Like everything we talked about, basically?
Yeah, like grading, subgrades.
Okay, gotcha.
Eye appeal, ratings, all that stuff.
That's the lingo now. Wild card X. Do negatives for type photos every go up on auction? Yeah, of course they do. I see them, don't they?
Yeah, but
and, I don't know. Transparency, slides, all those other things.
Yeah, I'm not really into the negatives myself, but who knows?
The thing to find though is the original photo proof, like I had of that Prince.
What is that?
The proof is the very, very first photo that's taken from the negative.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the next level. That's the next level above type 1.
Yes. I've seen a few on eBay. And that my Prince was a proof. That's why it's called a one of a kind. D10's collections. The next level is definitely art in relation to the rarity and significance, but I would say unique pieces in general, like game-worn items, other unique memorabilia. Yeah, good thing. And is that what Fanatics primarily specialized in at first?
Memorabilia? I guess so, but memorabilia is like watered down even more than cards, to be honest. Did you
really?
I saw this. I don't know if I told you. I think we talked about this where I saw like a John Cena signing hosted by Fetterman Sports a couple weeks ago. And I think they bragged that he signed 10,000 items or more within an hour. Just like signing photographs, signing belts, signing T-shirts, all this stuff. And
he has a horrible signature, man.
It's like
they're awful.
Signed memorabilia is just like it's too plentiful. You know what I mean? Which is why people are going for game used memorabilia now. But going back to what we were saying about that earlier is that game used memorabilia is too hard to verify. It's like it's too dependent on third party authentication companies where there can be a difference of opinions or something like that could really screw that up. So that's why I think going back to the original source material of photos, cards, artwork, things like that's easier to get into, and that's what people are really, I think people are going to lean towards that after we have a few more game used memorabilia scandals out there.
And you're saying that because people want the seller wants the buyer to know like this memorabilia came from that game where that athlete broke a record or something significant happened in the game.
Yeah, because again, it just goes back to that point that we want the most rarest items. You know what I mean? And we want to be able to trace it to say that this is a one of a kind item. But that kind of this might be a little bit of a tangent to kind of go off on. But how we do have we have patch cards, autographed patch cards,
right?
And they started off as game used patch cards, which I believe when they came out in the 90s, the late 90s, I believe that they were game used from a game.
Okay.
Then they turned into player worn. So somewhere along the line, they turned into player worn, which when I hear that, I just think to myself, they wore it at a photo shoot for like a minute. They put it on and then they took it off. so that they could say it's player worn. That's what I think. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe,
that's what I'm saying. I could see a player just sitting there while someone just passes him a jersey each time, and he puts it on for like 10 seconds and turns it off and puts on the next one.
I mean,
and they're like, check.
maybe it is from something else where they wore it for like a day, but that's what I think about. You know what I mean? When they say player worn, and they have to be really sneaky with the wording now. And then when they say game worn, but not from a particular game or anything like that, it could be a warm up jersey. It could be, something else. So I don't know. It just loses its appeal. It's been watered down. When the idea first came out, it was cool and unique, and it added that level of rarity that we want. But over time, it has been watered down. So to me, patch cards are like not even that great anymore, compared to game used memorabilia and stuff like that. But I think over time, that stuff will get watered down also. So, I mean, if you think about it, like how many times does an athlete how many jerseys has an athlete worn over his career where he can say this is a game used jersey, right? A lot, hundreds.
They pretty much have like a new uniform every game, right?
Yeah, a new one every game. So thousands, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even the older players, it could be like hundreds. But the original artwork, there's only going to be one of those. It cannot be duplicated. Okay, it's only one original artwork. One, I mean, there might be multiple Type 1 photos, but really they're pretty rare, And even now today, you can't even have Type 1 photos anymore. Really, they're all digital.
Digital, yeah. I've explained all that.
Right. Come out to be as Type 3, right?
Yeah.
So like, if you had a card today, it would be, it's not even going to be a photo, but it'll be like, it would be like a Type 3 photo. So you can't even have a Type 1 photo of any modern card today. And
then just because it's digital doesn't mean it's either authentic either, because I've had some digital photos rejected, and I think they read the DPIs, which is the resolution quality of the digital print on the card stock.
Yeah. So see, original artwork, original source material is the way to go, I think.
Card Vibe. Oh yeah. Also, Dan, D10's collections. That's Axel.
I see. He says that.
Card Vibe. The Luke #1 PSA 10 on Heritage is at $30,000 with a day left. I think Series 1 an open wax is a great long-term hold.
I think the last PSA 10 went for like 40 grand, something like that. Okay, so here's another example, right?
Which Luke is this one? Is it the Luca?
I'm assuming. Well, he said Luke #1.
Oh, Luke #1, Luke Skywalker.
I'm assuming he's saying the 1977 #1, yes. Right? So here's another what if example. This one's going for 30. Let's just say it ends at like 40 grand tomorrow. PSA 10. I don't know how many PSA 10s are out there. Probably like less than 10, I bet.
You think so? Yeah, they're very low.
What would be more valuable, the Type 1 photo of that or the PSA 10? I would rather have the photo, to be honest. So.
I guarantee you, it's probably just like the mantle. It's probably a fuller photo. It's not a close up.
It's
probably like a mid shot.
I would love to see that. I would love to see that, Chris.
Mark the Collector, excited for Kari saying, yeah, too bad she won't have a Panini card. Yeah, too bad.
I like Kari saying. Kari saying she's pretty cool. She's a cute girl. But they need Asuka. Like, they need to form a faction, an all Japanese faction where they
were all wrestling together in Japan, right?
English. I don't know if they were doing that, but
were.
Asuka needs to come out there and be the leader of that faction, and they need to war against Damage Control. That's what I want to see.
Oh, okay. I bet that. Oh, Dan, I think you just spilled the beans. I think that's a good guess.
But Damage Control, like if they lose,
because Bailey definitely looks shocked.
Yeah, if they lose Io Sky, then they need a third girl to replace it, and I don't know who they get. But they need somebody, right?
They've got plenty of people.
Yeah, but I'd like to see that. To me, it doesn't work. Like Kairi Sane and Io Sky together does not work without Asuka.
Yeah, because NXT is stocked with great women too to come up into the roster.
Yeah.
Axel again is D10's collections. Rarity is key. Yes, it is, brother. Mark, the collector tops at least is better than Panini and having actual game event worn material than Panini's player worn. So true.
You know, Tops, I saw that they made a couple announcements. Like they showed their Major League debut patch card, which looks cool. You know, they have relic cards now where it's like your first stolen base. So I think that's an interesting gimmick that they're doing. And they'll probably do it with bats too, like your first Major League hit or something like that. They tear up the bat and make a card of that. But again, I don't know, like with the base cards. Like the stolen base card, right? They're probably going to make a whole bunch of those. It's not like the Major League debut patch where there's only one of those, right? So again, like if you have these relic cards, who really cares? You know, do you really care if you get like a square inch of a stolen base or a jersey? I mean, like who really cares about that kind of stuff anymore? You know what I mean? The only patch cards are like the Logo Man cards; those are pretty cool, you know. But anything else is just like whatever to me now.
Well, I think that's pretty cool of the Tops doing those like bats and stuff of famous Hall of Famers like Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and things like that. They've really gone up in value.
The cards where they show like the name, like they cut off the piece of the bat and it has like their name on it. I think that's pretty cool.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. James, what's up, James? Vintage wrestling is the best. Yeah, it is. I like to get some more.
Definitely.
I like to make a set of the Wrestling All-Stars.
One day, like I thought about doing a set, but I don't need a set of that, to be honest. I need Flair.
You need the Japanese Hogans.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
I have the Hogan 82 card. I have an Andre card. I just don't have a Flair card.
And we've got to look for those Type 1 photos of them, Dan, you and me.
Can you imagine?
Because you got the magazine of Hogan, right?
Yeah, I do right here. Pull it out. So
Which is so cool. So we got to find that photo, dude.
Yeah, right here.
That's on our Hot for 24, dude.
Look at the way they cut his afro, like so square, you know? Because you know, like they probably had the photo and they literally just cut it out.
Yeah, this is before Photoshop.
Yeah.
Way before Photoshop existed.
So
they really had to do it manually.
Okay.
With a razor blade.
All right, I'm starting to run out of gas here. I think this soju.
Yeah, I'm hungry. I got to see what Maria brought ordered for dinner.
This soju is definitely kicking in now, guys. So I need to go.
Red though, Dan.
What's that?
Did you take the tablets tonight?
No. I think maybe I was just talking a lot. Yeah, I'm building up a tolerance. Okay.
Yeah, I think you are
Building up a tolerance for sure.
Cool.
Slurring now, guys.
Okay,
I'm starting to slur.
Okay,
Last
now
comment
it
from James.
Now it shows. Thanks, James. Awesome magazine, Dan. It is so freaking cool.
Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give them one more shout out for Mr. Minty.
Mr. Minty. All right, Mr. Minty Supplies. Check him out. I've got the link to Instagram and his website down below. Use the promo code Curator. That's Curator. And I think you can get 20 or 25% off. He hasn't changed it. So you viewers are lucky as hell because these things sell out at every show. So check it out. There's also videos on his website on how to use it. It can up your card from an 8 to a 10. It's happened to me. It can happen to you.
Right. Okay, yeah. One last comment here. I just saw this card vibe. I want to get this in there.
Oh, I don't think a Type 1 Luke has never sold. A Luke lightsaber prop sold for $450,000. What do you think the Type 1 will bring?
I would say
maybe 100,000 too.
I would say 75 to 100 grand. I think so.
At least, yeah. But no, I just think there's so many people, the vultures, that be hungry for it.
Oh yeah.
Just collectors in general. That it's such a huge market that they would just go crazy for it.
Right. Okay. Any last minute shout outs?
Yeah, guys, check me out. I just posted a video today since my neck has been feeling better. I've had hell. I've been trying to edit this all last week. Finally up. I do a PSA slab reveal of Type 1 and Type 2 photos. We've been talking about it. Check it out. I got some cool shit. I've posted some cool things on Instagram as well. So check me out down below. Merleworld Cards. My YouTube is also Merleworld Cards. Dan, I finally hit 900, 100 left for my personal best. So let's get there, folks. I need y'all's help. And that's it. And like I said, I will be live coming in from the Great Curator's main cave that you see right now. We'll be together again, reunited for next week's show. Same bat time, same bat channel.
All right. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us this week, and we will see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Yo, listen.